Hello my lovely people, my name is GlitchData and today I'm going to be showing you how to install Geyser, which is a mod for Minecraft Java Edition servers that lets both Bedrock Edition and Java Edition players play on the same server, so no longer will you have to worry about what version your friends are on when you're trying to play together. But before we get into that, a few things. First of all, we just hit 500 subscribers, which is insane. It might not seem like a lot to you guys, but to me, it just means the world, and I want to thank you all very much. Secondly, I'm going to be opening a Discord server for you all to join. So if you want to join that, the link for that will be in the description. So with that out of the way, let's get straight into the video. Before we install any sort of server, we will have to install both the Java Runtime Environment, or JRE for short, and the Java JDK, which is the toolkit that every Minecraft server uses to run. Starting with the JRE, open a browser and go to java.com/download and hit the Download Java button. Run the downloaded setup file and click Install. Once that's finished installing, we'll move on to the JDK. To download the JDK, either follow the link in the description or go to Google and search for JDK Download, and click on the link to the Oracle website titled Java Downloads. Click on the JDK 17 tab, and then I'm on Windows, so I'll go to the Windows tab and download the x64 installer. Run the file you get, and click Next twice to install the JDK. The next thing we're going to do is something called port forwarding. This part is a little bit repetitive, and you will need to do this step if you want to allow other people who aren't on your own Wi-Fi network to join your server. If you only intend people on your own Wi-Fi network to play, then you can skip this step if you like. To port forward, first open the control panel and search for Firewall. Click on the Windows Defender Firewall, and in the Advanced Settings tab, go to Inbound Rules, click New Rule, Port, TCP, and Specific Local Ports. In this box, we will put the ports that are needed in order for the Minecraft server to work. These are 25565 and 19132. Make sure that you separate these values with a comma, otherwise it won't work. Click Next and allow the connection. Next again. Make sure all three of these boxes are ticked. Next again, and give the rule a name like Minecraft. Now, click New Rule again, and this time, click Port, Next, and UDP instead of TCP. Again, enter 25565 and 19132, separated by a comma, into the port box. Allow the connection, and make sure that all three boxes are ticked. Click Next, and again, name it Minecraft. Now, go into the outbound rules, and here the process is pretty much the same. Go to New Rule, Port, TCP, Specific Remote Ports, enter 25565 and 19132 separated by a comma, next, allow the connection, make sure all three boxes are ticked, and name the rule Minecraft. Now for the last rule, click New Rule, Port, UDP, and enter 25565, 19132. Allow the connection, make sure all three boxes are ticked, and name the rule Minecraft. Phew, that was a lot, but we're only halfway. Now we need to do a similar thing, but on our router. For this, we will need a few pieces of information, and the process may be different depending on your router. First, we need to find our local IP address. To do this, open the command prompt by putting cmd in the Windows search and typing ipconfig. In the output of this command, look for the section titled Wireless LAN Adapter Wi-Fi. Note down the IPv4 address and the default gateway numbers, as we will need these in a moment. Now, find your physical Wi-Fi router, and somewhere on the back, you will find a section that tells you the admin username and password. Note these down as well, because we will need them to log into our router. Now, back on your computer, open a browser, and in the address bar, type the default gateway number that you noted down a moment ago. In my case, it's 192.168.1.1. You will most likely be greeted with a login page, where you can enter the admin username and password that you noted down. If you couldn't find the username or password, then you can search on Google by searching your router model default admin password. A common configuration for this is just admin for both the username and password. Once you've logged into your router, you will need to search around a bit to find where the settings for port forwarding are, or you can search up on Google router model dashboard port forwarding. In my case, I needed to go to Internet Settings, Manage Advanced Settings, Advanced Configuration, Forward Rules, and IPv4 port mapping. Once you find your port forwarding page, create a new rule, enter a name for it, and set the internal host, or local host as it's sometimes called, to the IPv4 address that you noted down earlier. Leave the external host blank, and set the protocol to TCP/UDP. If you don't have an option for TCP and UDP combined, then you will need to make two separate rules, one for TCP and another for UDP. Set the internal start and end port to 25565. Sometimes it will only ask you for a port range or a single port, in which case you will only need to put 25565 once. Now, create another rule, name it, and set the internal host or local host to your IPv4 address, as before. Leave the external host blank, and set the protocol again to TCP/UDP. Finally, this time set the internal start and end port to 19132. You can take a breath now, the hard part is over. Now, we'll finally install the server. On your browser, go to getbucket.org and click on the Spigot link. Then, click on the yellow text at the bottom of the page. It will download a file called Spigot, version name .jar. I'm going to create a folder on my desktop so that I can put all of the files for my server in it. Place the .jar file in this folder, open it, and double-click the file. If this doesn't do anything, you will need to run it manually. To do that, right-click on a blank space in the folder, select Open in Terminal, and type java-jar and then the file name. Once it's run, you will see a few new folders and a file called eula.txt. Open this file and change where it says eula equals false to eula equals true. Save the file and open the jar file again. You should eventually see a window that pops up with a graph and a terminal. Congrats, your server has launched. Unfortunately though, only Java Edition players can use it at the moment. To fix this, we'll install a plugin called Geyser. In your browser, go to GeyserMC.org, click the download button, and download both Geyser and Floodgate. This will give you two jar files. Now, place the two files that you just downloaded into the plugins folder in your server directory and run your server again. To join the server, we will need to find our public IP address, which you can get by going to Google, typing in my IP, and copying this number here. Then, in Minecraft, go to Multiplayer, click Add Server, and put that number into the server address box. Now you can simply click play, and you're good to go. And that's it! You can now play on a Minecraft server with both your Bedrock and Java Edition friends. You can even add Java Edition mods like World Edit, and the Bedrock players will be able to use them as if they were on PC. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing, as it only takes 2 seconds and it really helps out the channel a lot. Anyway, it's time for me to head off. There's a cake waiting for me in the kitchen. Don't worry, I'll bring you some. Bye!